Today was a challenging day for the markets. Despite positive overnight cues on geopolitics, with Brent being stable around the 88 mark, Nifty and large cap indices had a very rough day today, but finally ended flat. Mid cap actually was down about 44 basis points, but what saved the day was the buying from the DIIs with 4,000 crores of buying, because FIIs were flat today, a marginal 18 crores of selling. But NIDI was also in action today with about 1,600 stocks rising against 1,300 stocks falling. So from that point of view, the small cap and the micro cap ended up with a reasonable positive of about 30 to 40 basis points. This behavior today was again showing that foreigners are yet to gain confidence from the RBI policy to commit more amounts of capital. Yesterday negative, today flat. So they're clearly waiting for better signals from the earnings season to take a greater commitment to India. That seems pretty clear. Apart from that, the sectors which did well today were, as usual, domestic driven, means defense was with almost 3% up. PSU banks with 2.2% up were on the top. Pharma, infra, financial services, FMCG all ended really flat. And what didn't do well today was realty, down about 1.3%, media about 1.3% also. Auto, despite the July numbers, auto across all the 6 various categories of automobiles coming up with a 25% year-on-year growth, but July over June was flat. So I think there was some profit booking and auto was down 1%. Metals also suffered with almost 1%, and IT continued their selling streak which started from yesterday with a negative 1%. So about 6 or 7 heavy negative sectors essentially impacted the market. So apart from that, there was nothing great in terms of the other parameters. Gold was up today because of the easing in the tensions, but silver was down about 0.5% both. Anything else of note today was, I would say, the US 10-year reasonably flat at 4.6, Indian 10-year at 6.78. So it improved by 5 basis points from 6.83 to 6.78. So slight easing there. But I want to talk about an important point today, which is much talked about point, the CAS, the new system that SEBI has introduced, which is an auction system for the closing. So there have been a lot of challenges. People are finding it tough to get used to it. And in fact, last 2 days, if you notice, the last price was spiking up and not reflective of the way the index behaved during the whole day. But today, the first time, a surprising thing came up which points out one of the key things about the system. And I thought I'd spend a few minutes talking about that. So the new centralized the auction system, right, replaced the old VWAP, which is volume weighted average price, right? So why I'm talking about it today is that today a key difference came out, which is that today the Sensex was at 0.5%, but Nifty was flat. Puzzle? Both are large cap indices. This has 30 stocks, that has 50 stocks. What happened? So let me take you through the mechanism. That is, the volume weighted average price was a very smooth one which was in existence all these years, where the last half an hour of trading between 3 and 3:30, they would take their continuous selling and buying by every participant, and based on the volume in that half an hour, the weightage will be given. If Reliance was 1 lakh shares sold, it would get a weightage of 1 lakh. If HDFC Bank was sold only 1,000 shares, it'll get the weight of only 1,000. So depending on how much volume got traded in the whole last half an hour, the smooth weighted average price, so volume weighted average price was the system. But somewhere, because some block deals could come and distort it and all, SEBI felt that this was not transparent enough and they moved to this new system from August 3rd, which is the Monday, which is the centralized auction system. What they'll do, they stop trading at 3:15, and then between 3:15 and 3:30, right, whatever the volume of orders come, all of them will be traded at one price, which is the auction price, which they will ask for bids from people and fix it. So this, what happens is that this means that every trade in that last bit of 3:15 to 3:30, 3:35 was only all will be fixed at a single equilibrium price. So the difference then what happens is that you get distortions. So because of these distortions, I may be willing to settle at a particular price, but the equilibrium price may be different. And one of the key things is because of what happened today. For example, if you take two large cap funds of the mutual fund industry, one has got a benchmark as Sensex, another has a benchmark as the Nifty. Their benchmark performance is 0.5% different almost today. So clearly they will be. Now, why did today's happen? Well, the Sensex heavy constituents had a lot of trading, positive up trading. So there is Reliance, HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank. So they were all up today. So the Sensex was up. They're all there in the Nifty too, but to a much lesser concentration because Sensex, is a 30 stock index. This is a 50 stock. So a lot of the stocks which were not in the Sensex but in the Nifty came down today. So, for example, utilities, Power Grid Corporation, TCS from the IT pack, Tata Steel and JSW Steel from the metals pack, and M&M from the auto. So, as I said, metals, IT, autos were all down 1% today. So these big heavyweights were down, and so they dragged down the Nifty relative to the Sensex, right? So that's where you see today it's shown up the sparkly. Now brokers and all of them have not been very happy with the new system. They are making representations. There's still a difference between because the futures which closes a bit later is still in the volume weighted average price. So the arbitrage funds are also facing challenges that I'll talk about it another time. But it pointed out clearly, so I thought I'll take the occasion today to explain to you what is this new system. And today you saw a clear example of distortion, and so it will take time for people to adjust to the new system and come through. But just to summarize, before you had a weighted average price over the last 30 minutes of trade. Now you have only for the last from 3:15 to 3:30, that 15 minutes of trade, you have only one equilibrium price. Means every trade done in that window will be at that price, and which is determined to be the closing price. I hope this explanation helps you. Meet you again tomorrow.